Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Smells Like. I'm Josh. So good to see you. And today I have for you my top 10 fall fragrance list. I love fall. It might be my favorite season just because it's so fleeting and the weather starts to turn cool and the leaves change. My birthday is in October, so I've always had kind of good memories with fall. That's right around the time we get really the best part of fall. And I love the clothes. You get to dress in layers and sweaters and flannels and break out your boots and also the fragrances. I feel like you have a much wider array of different types of things you can wear. So I actually have 12 fragrances to talk about, 2 honorable mentions, and then the proper top 10. These are not necessarily in order, the top 10, maybe a little bit, but all of them are awesome choices. 5 through 10 are not slouches. There's no filler in this. These are all awesome fragrances that I personally love and am really excited about. But first, 2 honorable mentions, and those are Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum and YSL L'Homme. So the original L'Homme that started the whole L'Homme craze. I really have some good memories with both of these, and so every time I wear them, those memories kind of come back. And the fact that I think I got both of these in the fall time, in the autumn months, and first really wore these a lot in those autumn months, and so I think that's why I have that connection to these. But these are both, heavy hitter fragrances, but they get talked about so much I didn't want to put them in the main list. These are definitely worthy of respect. So let's get into the main list. At number 10 from the House of Dunhill, this is a Dunhill Icon Elite. So the black bottle edition, the ever so popular Dunhill Icon. This is a much darker version, more of a nighttime and colder weather version of Icon. But this one is all about this sort of dark, smooth wood. The note that's listed is ebony wood. There's also cardamom. There's like a cooling effect to this. There's a great sandalwood note in this, and this kind of reminds me of a mix between Santal 33 from Le Labo and Creed Viking. This has aspects of both of those, kind of the best aspects of both. That kind of slightly dry sandalwood and Santal 33, a little bit of that mentholated fougere type feeling that you get from Viking, and this literally has a cooling. This smells cold. It smells dark and cold, and so it really is perfect for fall. That's Dunhill Icon Elite at number 10. At number 9 from the House of Lalique, it's Encre Noir. This is a rock star, especially because it can be had so cheaply. Really just an amazing bottle, an amazing fragrance. This is kind of my existential fragrance, and by that I mean this one is all about just darkness. It has this dark vetiver and some dry woods. It is just such a dark, slightly kind of inky type of vetiver. It's really mysterious, and this is best worn in late fall on really dreary gray type days, really cold gray type days. I feel like I reach for this when I'm wearing like all black boots and black jeans and black hoodie under a black leather jacket or something like that, or a black sweater, and even maybe a black beanie on. This is just all about that sort of gothic feel. Like I said, kind of my my existential night of the soul fragrance here. I absolutely love this one. It is Encre Noir from Lalique. At number 8, we have Eau de Bois from Loccitane. This one is all about vanilla and cypress, kind of a dry, slightly piney wood. This has a little bit of incense in it as well. Just a really awesome vanilla fragrance. That wood gives it a little bit of a dryness. It isn't too sweet. It's really kind of a sophisticated smelling vanilla fragrance. Reminds me a little bit of Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford, just without the tobacco. It kind of has that same feel, slightly dark type of, maybe a little bit of a brooding type of vanilla. Like I said, not very sweet, just really resinous and full and warm. And but not too heavy. You know, this is much lighter than something like Tobacco Vanille, so I feel like this is a little more versatile than fragrances like that. This can be worn pretty much any time. Really versatile. It has a lightness to it that really makes it wear well, and you know, doesn't get too heavy or cloying anything. At number 8, Eau de Bois from L'Occitane. At number 7, from the house of Guerlain, this is L'Homme Ideal. This is the Eau de Toilette. There is an EDP, a cologne, a sport. There's an intense version of this. I still really prefer the original Eau de Toilette. This is another really great cool weather fragrance that, you know, isn't too heavy. This one has a lot of tonka bean. It has this almond note in it. There's some woods in this. There's this leather, so it's a leathery tonka bean with almond. Pretty unique fragrance, and you know, if we're talking designer fragrances, particularly releases from the last couple years, this definitely stands out to me as one of the best, and really an excellent release from Guerlain. And to only be at number 7 tells you, you know, this list is not playing around. To me, this is a wonderful fragrance from Guerlain. That's L'Homme Ideal Eau de Toilette. At number 6, from Carolina Herrera, this is CH Men, and this one, you know, has gotten a lot of hype in the fragrance community. You know, at this point almost feels like a little bit of like a guilty pleasure for me, just in the way that this has been, you know, hyped up as like a lady killer fragrance and all that kind of thing. You know, don't really buy into that, but it is a great designer fragrance. This is got leather and sugar and grass, so there's kind of a greenness, like a green grassy element. There's a nice kind of like a smooth brown leather type of feel, and then there's this sweetness, like literally like a sugar sweetness. Really makes this one kind of an alluring, sexy fragrance. There's some other things going on, some woods, some florals, of course. Really enjoy this one when the weather starts to cool down a little bit. I do enjoy it for dates, and I think for whatever reason, women tend to like this one on me. I really get a lot of great feedback with this, so, you know, say what you want about the fanboys or, you know, the Jeremy fragrance army or whatever, but on this one, they got something with this one. This one's kind of worth the hype in my opinion. Really do enjoy CH Men from Carolina Herrera. Coming in at number 5, from the house of Hermes, this is Terre d'Hermes, the original Eau de Toilette. This is such a rockstar 10 out of 10, legendary designer fragrance. This is one of my favorites of all time. And it's fairly versatile. You could wear this in warmer weather, I think, but this has vetiver in it. It has this kind of dirty, earthy orange. I think there might be a little bit of patchouli in this, maybe, that gives kind of an earthy vibe. Some woods. This has a lot of isoe super, an aroma chemical that gives off a dry wood feel. This one lasts for ages on my skin, and I enjoy this one so much. Super unique designer fragrance from master perfumer Jean-Claude Elena for the house of Hermes. And like I said, this one wears so well when the weather starts to cool off a little bit. There's just something about the vetiver in this, that earthy feel, you know, it feels and it smells like fall. You know, fall is so earthy. Everything is returning to the earth quite literally. And so to have something like this that has, you know, the brightness and kind of the liveliness of citrus, marred almost and entangled with literal earth, you know, like literally like dirt in there, and grit, and it kind of mixes with that. And I really feel like it just really represents what the autumnal season is all about. I love this one. Terre d'Hermes from the house of Hermes. At number 4 from Dior, we have another original. This is Dior Homme, the original Eau de Toilette, and this one, another legendary fragrance. I love this one again for the fall. This is a perfect transitional fragrance. It works on days that are maybe a little bit warmer, days where maybe you start out with a jacket or a sweater on, but by the afternoon, you know, you've peeled the layers off. This one kind of works in layers as well, that it's going to stand up to some cold, but it's also light enough that it's not going to choke anybody out. This one can shine a little bit in the heat as well. It really does a great job with a little bit of heat on it, I feel, and so just perfect for these transitional fall days. This one has that famous iris note. It's made the Dior Homme line so famous, you know, so unique. It's got cacao, patchouli, there's some amber in this, lavender, and a pretty prominent leather note, of course. Really the iris and leather, you know, it's almost like a slightly powdery leather. Just develops so beautifully in the wearing of it, and just a gorgeous fragrance from Dior, the original Dior Homme at number 4. This brings us to the top 3. You know, hopefully you're enjoying this video as we go here. So, top 3 of my favorite fall fragrances for 2018 at number 3. From the house of Chanel, another original. This is the original Allure Homme Eau de Toilette. This one has recently become a love for me. There is a full review of this on my channel. I will link that below if you want to check this out. This one is criminally underrated. It is a huge trendsetter. That sort of tonka bean, men's tonka with sweetness and citrus and other things kind of layered over a tonka bean based fragrance. You know, this started that way back, you know, 20 years ago, and fragrances are still going strong, kind of basing things around that. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this fragrance. There's ginger, there's a vanillic aspect to this, there's some great citruses, there's a peach note that's really nice, there's coconut, there's a great lavender in this. I don't usually like lavender, but the lavender in this is just done so well. I think the only lavender that I really enjoy is Chanel's lavender. They just have a way of doing it that I just love it so much. There's sandalwood, benzoin, amber, leather, jasmine, patchouli, vetiver, musk, some other florals, you know, just on and on. But to me, this one is just kind of all about that tonka bean, kind of slightly dark, vanillic tonka bean. It also has vanilla and benzoin, so it gives you that entire really dark, vanillic, resinous feel. And then it's just layered on top of that are florals. There's this leather in it that is really nice. You know, if you love Chanel's Allure Homme Edition Blanche, try the original Allure Homme, because this is a deeper, darker version of that. You know, the Edition Blanche took this and made it summery and bright and more, more of a focus on the lemon. But this really is a darker version of that. If you like fragrances like Layton from Parfums de Marly, right here you go. This was the predecessor to fragrances like Layton, and really smells a lot. Layton smells a lot like this, maybe minus the apple and geranium that are prominent in Layton, but like some of the other vanillic sweetness and the freshness and the lavender that's in fragrances like Layton really work well in this. This is a masterpiece, in my opinion, and just so perfect for these fall months. Such a fleeting time, really worth enjoying some of the best fall fragrances that there are. And in my opinion, these, Herrera, Christian Dior, Homme, Homme, some of the best fall fragrances of all time. But we're not done yet. At number 2, this is a new release that I just fell immediately in love with, and I've already been wearing a lot this fall, from Tom Ford. This is ombre leather. This is just your quintessential dark leather fragrance. It has kind of like a dark, smooth leather in the beginning that changes slightly into like a brown, suede leather. It's got a little bit of saffron in it, some jasmine, there are other notes in this, but this, all you need to know about ombre leather is just, it's just leather. It just smells like the most luxurious leather. And I have been loving this fragrance. It's, kind of a re-release from a Tom Ford private blend, Ombre Leather 16, and can now be had from their designer line at a little bit more affordable of a price and a wider distribution, so you can find this places like Sephora. And it's just so good. It is slightly more rounded than the other Tom Ford leather fragrance of note. Tuscan leather, this is very similar to that, but it's a little more rounded, a little more easy to wear, and a little bit more of a crowd pleaser, honestly. I feel like people that don't like Tuscan leather still might like this, but then people that love Tuscan leather probably gonna love ombre leather from Tom Ford at number 2 there. So some of you probably thought that that would be my number 1, and I almost did put it at number 1, but there's one other fragrance that I really feel is deserving of that number 1 ranking, even though, the rankings here are not that, it doesn't mean that much. These to me are all worthy of wearing this fall. But there is one to rule them all, and for me, it's another one from the house of Guerlain. This is L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau de Toilette. You've probably heard of Lalique, L'Instant de Guerlain Extreme. This is the predecessor, the original version. Yes, this is a new bottle design. It's supposedly, a new formulation, whatever. To me, this smells the same as L'Instant ever smelled to me, and whatever type of bottle I've ever smelled it. This smells like the EDT. It smells the same to me. This one has this cacao with lemon and patchouli. This is one of the best patchouli scents that I've ever smelled, and it's patchouli mixed with, like I said, cacao, so just like kind of slightly like bitter, like cocoa, and then lemon, some other citrus, and then it has that classic Guerlain vibe that is so famous. And this one, man, this is another one that when I first ever smelled it or first ever owned this, it was in the autumn season. Actually, I think it was for my birthday 2 years ago. I got some of this, and every time I smell this, to this day, this just really reminds me of the autumn time and my birthday in October, and and just putting on my favorite sweater, coming in from the cold, putting on Stranger Things on Netflix, because Stranger Things comes out usually in fall the last 2 years, and so for some reason I've paired this fragrance with the show Stranger Things from Netflix, because the first year, 2 years ago when Stranger Things came out, was the first time that I tried this, or the first time that I got this in the mail. And I remember the day I got this in the mail, I sat in front of binge watching Stranger Things as the leaves had all turned and falling outside, wearing my favorite sweater that I had just got for my birthday, and L'Instant de Guerlain, and just loving the smell, falling in love with that rich patchouli. That it's almost like an orange chocolate that you get around Christmas time. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit because of the cacao and the citrus mixed together. But this is just such a great masculine fragrance. It's Guerlain, so of course there's a ton of other stuff going on than the stuff I mentioned, but this is so worthy of checking out. The EDP is also amazing, and I plan on picking up a bottle of the EDP real soon, but I feel like for fall, the EDT is where it's at, and the EDP more for the colder winter months. So I'll be grabbing that for winter. You might see the EDP on my winter list, but for my fall top 10 designer fragrances 2018, it's L'Instant de Guerlain at number 1. So that is the list, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below, what are your favorites from the list here? Are there any that stick out to you as personal faves for you that you'll be wearing a lot this fall? Or are there any that maybe surprise you didn't expect to see? Let me know in the comments, and if you'd like to do this again sometime, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you right here at the Smells Like Fragrance channel for another video. Thanks so much for watching.